Okay, in today's video, like I did last time with Serbia, I will be making a country big. This time, Latvia, who are these guys in brown down here. We will be making groups. Last time I had two groups, which was peace and war. This time, what we're doing is we will be making it into the people who are going to own everything, who are here in subscribed slash uh power power. Yes, beautiful. Then we'll be clicking done, and then we have the first group. Yeah, so now we're going to have to make a group which will be unsubscribed, and seeing as they will be invading here, we have unsubscribed. Yeah, makes sense. Because I want them to be at war first. And then we're going to have these guys can be in the subscribe group for now, with these guys in Russia and these guys in Belarus. So first we have these guys. Well, I'm not sure if they would actually win this war, but for the purposes of this video being interesting, we will allow them to. So swiftly they just invade, and even though they're about the same level, because we kind of need these guys to be powerful to make them big, they just end up quite quickly, only like after a few weeks winning. Then they take the obvious option of just going here. So we'll be taking them out of their group and putting them in the unsubscribed group. So what happens to people who are unsubscribed? This happens to them. Boom. Apparently they get unified with and become part of Big Boy Latvia. Do you want to be part of Big Boy Latvia? I don't know. Maybe. Then they will be doing some weird things, as they'll be for some reason invading part of Sweden, and then invading all of Sweden. What the hell? They're also taking that bit of land from Denmark, but Denmark are fine with it because we don't really know. We also don't know how they're beating Switzerland. It's probably because they also convinced Norway to join the war, and it's a 2v1, so especially seeing as they've kind of been they're on a roll, so they're quite strong, and they'll continue to be strong. Well, they'll continue to show that they're strong as they kind of crumple most of Sweden, and even though parts of Sweden still exist, and they have a giant expansion back and kind of have a bit of a counterattack, and they're taking land, and it looks like, oh, maybe they'll survive. Suddenly, the Estonians say, nope. They take back the first bit of land they took, then they take this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and then Sweden kind of just surrenders. The rest of Sweden can exist, they think, because there's not really much they can do. But in the peace deal, they're just going to take up to this river because it's easily defendable. So if the Swedish do attempt to not be invaded, they can survive. And as these people weren't subscribed, we have to put them in the subscribe group now because they're safe from Big Boy Latvia, which is what you want to be, because Big Boy Latvia is strong. Yeah. They're also going to now be invading Belarus, and with all of this extra land, they're kind of on a roll, so they're just going to be preparing for a little bit. They're kind of getting their allies together. Well, they don't really have any allies, but they will call in Poland for this war, because I guess Poland probably wants some of this land. So these guys decide to unsubscribe, and now they're being invaded. But we're not just going to unify them, because these guys, they'll put up a tiny bit of a fight. Like, as soon as Estonia decide to invade, they put a bit of fight back, and they're going to push the Polish. But then the Polish get their whole force together. Stop giving me unions. I need large expansions, yes. and then Poland's gonna actually put their forces together, and then when they've got all of their forces together, and then you have the Estonians who literally just took a ton of land. There's not much else they can do, and because they're all in the same group, I can just do this. Perfect. Yeah, that's nice. I think Estonia probably only want about that much. So we'll allow them to. These guys, I guess Poland could unify with them. And then actually, they're going to unsubscribe just for a tiny amount of time, and then they can resubscribe because we're just giving them a tiny bit more land because I think it looks nicer like this. Yeah, that makes sense. We'll put them back in their subscribe group, and they can continue being safe from Big Boy Latvia, who will be looking for their next target of another unsubscribed area. They're looking around and they see Finland, and they see that a lot of their people are not subscribed, so they go for the invasion. And they land quite fast, and they call in their friends of Norway to attack as well, as they always do. Let's just hope they never invade Norway, because Norway have helped them a lot. And they are subscribed, so maybe they won't, maybe they won't. Now Estonia will be just invading up a little bit, as there's not really much Finland can do. They don't have that many cities left in this area that they own, so they kind of just end up giving up. And because they don't want too much land, they allow Finland to exist. And nope, they're supposed to be in this. No, what? Why can't I click? Perfect. Now they're in the same group, so they won't be invaded. And Estonia, they're doing pretty good. They've got a big country, but they want a bigger country. So they get Germany can do that because I don't want to accidentally invade them. And then we'll put these guys in this group. And now it's time for Estonia to invade Denmark. I'm making like some sort of North Sea giant, which is they're actually looking pretty cool. At some point, I would like to connect this all up because it kind of looks weird like this. But for now, I think it's pretty cool that they own like these little bits of land. But as you can see here, there's one guy who's kind of stopping them from connecting all their land, and that is Russia. Now, you may think, oh my god, it'll be so difficult to invade. But they have decided to call in the people from Poland, Ukraine, who are in real life already at war with Russia, but in this universe now they only are, and China, because, I don't know, why not? If Estonia can somehow convince Norway to invade everybody, and Poland to invade Belarus, I think they have the powers of negotiations. So, yeah, they invade Russia. And with all of this newfound land and all of the added allies and stuff, they're just gonna hope for the best. No, they're not just gonna take over all of Russia. This game keeps wanting. Oh my god, I forgot to put them into this group, which is sad. So, bits of land on the border with Russia start falling, and you might be thinking, this is insane. What's happening? But I'm not, because I have plans for this world. Plans, I tell you. Plans. Also forgot that I have to put these guys in the same group so that they can actually do stuff. And then, these guys, yeah, they're just gonna cook, I think. They push a tiny bit here just because, and they're also just gonna invade a bit of their neighbours so that they can continue pushing here. And as they are big boy, well, they already were, so that's kind of why. We're not making them big on purpose. They already were, so yeah. I know they're actually quite good allies with Russia in real life, but like I said there, it's not real life. It's whatever world this is. Oh no, what the hell? What have I accidentally done to Japan? I will be fixing that in a second, once these guys have invaded. Yeah, now we can actually fix this, because Japan are not meant to be missing part of their most northern island. But they would like to take these lands from Russia, as Russia are being invaded, so they're just like free land. Now, Russia have lost a ton of land to China here, and they're going to lose a bit more land to Ukraine and everybody else, and they're kind of thinking that they're screwed, and they really are. They've lost so much land already, and now, I think, they just take over Finland for fun, I guess, because they want more places to attack Russia from. But stop attempting to get me to unify with nations that don't need to be unified with. Well, actually, they didn't invade them. They unified, and because Finland was basically just a bunch of ice with no real people there, so they just used it as a base for attacking. But now, this is where the real battle starts. They're fighting for the city here. Can't remember what it's called currently. It's gone through a lot of names and history. It's named something probably. I just can't remember. So, city here. I know it's very important. I know it's a big city, so that's why it's being invaded. But as we know, Russia are not weak, so obviously they push back a lot. Like, not just a little bit, a lot, a bit. A lot of it? I don't know what that means, but they push back. Except, they just think, you know what, there's not really any point. Like, we don't want to continue being at war with so many nations, so they decide to just peace out. But not before Estonia invades down. Now they've really made Russia want to peace out. And Russia do peace out as Estonia are too strong for them for some reason. We don't know why. Nobody ever will. Nobody will ever understand the powers of Estonia today. Or, sorry, Latvia. Why did I call them Estonia? They do sound very similar. But still. Yeah, who cares? I think they're kind of one little bit of land away from this all looking a lot nicer. And that is Sweden and a bit of Norway. So they're just going to be asking Norway, yo, can we have a bit of land? And Norway say, okay, sure, as they don't want to be invaded anymore. Like, they're probably strong enough to survive, but they just truly do not want to get what happened earlier to happen. And then, as Sweden don't have too much land, I just want to get a union. Please give me a union. When I don't want a union, I get a union. When I do want a union, I don't. I guess we'll just re-add. You know, no, they're actually gonna. These guys are gonna invade up a bit so that they actually have a proper land border. And then they'll just let's add these guys back into the right group, and then we can do this as a final thing that we're doing today. Latvia take over the rest of Sweden, and as Sweden barely exists, like, there's not much they can do. Now, compared to my first empire, which I think they had most of Greece, they had a lot of Italy, they had a lot of this, which made a lot of sense. It wasn't like they were going insane. This time, there wasn't really enough small countries for me to invade, so they just did this. And they formed a giant, big version of Latvia, so I hope you like Big Latvia, and please subscribe so they won't come for you in your dreams. Bye.